Welcome to our instructional video on Darwin Initiative reporting systems. This video is intended for projects that have been funded under the Darwin Initiative's main round and post-projects. It should also prove useful for those funded under our other schemes, including the Scoping Awards, Fellowships, International Wildlife Trade and Darwin Plus. So first of all, congratulations on being funded by the Darwin Initiative. We receive hundreds of great applications each year and only fund the best projects we receive. So well done. Your project is clearly a great idea and has been well planned. Our video is to help you decipher all the requirements the Darwin Initiative places on you as grant holders, and we hope it will help you to understand some of the award documentation you're about to receive. So first up, who's who? The Darwin Initiative is funded by the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, or DEFRA as we call them. It's also funded by the Department for International Development, or DFID as we call them. Overall responsibility for management of the Darwin Initiative sits with the Darwin Secretariat in DEFRA. On a day-to-day basis, administration of the Darwin Initiative is contracted out to LTS International, and you will have already been in touch with us during the application process. Ailey Young is the Darwin Projects Administrator and will be your first point of contact for most issues. She has worked on the Darwin Initiative for 10 years and supports all Darwin projects. This means she has dealt with most queries at one time or another and is an excellent resource for ongoing Darwin projects. Here are her contact details. In addition to Ailey, there are other members of the team you may be in contact with from time to time. This may be for monitoring and evaluation purposes, communications or technical advice. Either way, Ailey will remain the main point of contact for Darwin projects unless you are specifically contacted by other members of the team. Our other team members include Leslie King, I work on monitoring and evaluation, technical advice and communications, Rebecca Adler, who works on monitoring and evaluation, and Joanne Gordon, who works on communications. All Darwin projects have a number of requirements in terms of reporting to the Darwin Initiative. The Darwin Initiative is funded by the UK government. Therefore, it is important that we ensure that we are fully able to account to the UK taxpayer for the funds spent. The Darwin Initiative has been funded since 1992, and to ensure we continue to receive support from the UK government, we need to ensure the high standards of Darwin Initiative projects are maintained. The reporting of Darwin projects can broadly be divided into technical reporting and financial reporting. In this next section, we'll talk about the technical reporting. Projects are required to report twice per year for the duration of their grant. These reports required are the half-year report, the annual report, and following the close of the project, a final report. We will send out reminders 1 month before these reports are due, but it is your responsibility to ensure that they are submitted on time. If we do not receive these reports, then your financial payments may be stopped. If you are concerned you are going to miss your reporting deadline, it is important that you contact us to let us know. The half-year report is expected to be a short, brief update on the project's progress. It should be submitted by the 31st of October each year and in the template provided. You will not receive a formal review of this report. This report will be placed on the Darwin website and is open to all. Therefore, if there's anything sensitive you wish to discuss, it is important that you clearly mark it. The annual report should be a detailed report of your progress against the planned activities, outputs and outcome in your original application form. It should be submitted in the template provided and it is due by the 30th of April each year. This includes your first year, even if you start later than the 1st of April. The log frame you submitted with your original application should have outlined what indicators you will use and what sources of evidence you will rely on to demonstrate your progress. By referring to these materials, you will greatly reduce your reporting burden. This should allow you to be succinct and yet fully meet our reporting requirements. Your annual report is subject to review by our monitoring and evaluation team. They will utilise a standard review format which you can access on the website to give you an idea of what they will look at. In general, the review is for DEFRA and DFID to understand how the project is progressing against its original objectives, whether there are any causes for concern, and whether there are any lessons that can be drawn out at this stage for the wider programme. The review is normally returned to you within 8 weeks of your report being submitted. It should be a useful document for projects in that it provides an independent viewpoint on the progress your project is making. Occasionally, the review may make recommendations for changes to your project which are intended to improve the project. It is highly recommended that you share this review with your project partners. All projects financed by the Darwin Initiative are expected to submit a final report. For main projects and post-projects, this should be received within 3 months from the end of your project. The report should be a comprehensive overview of the entire project from start to finish against the intended outcome and outputs. It should be submitted in our template. You should refer to the log frame you submitted with your application and any amendments agreed during the project. As much as possible, you should report against the indicators you set at the beginning. Where practical, you should submit the evidence listed in the log frame as an annex to the report. So now we move on to the financial reporting requirements of your project. As a government-funded scheme, the Darwin Initiative provides you with an annual grant award letter. This will normally be sent to you in March each year. It is your responsibility to send a signed version back. Without this award form, we cannot process any payments to your project. The Darwin Initiative provides projects with quarterly advance claims on your funding. This should be particularly useful for small organisations with limited cash reserves to bankroll projects, but you should note that the last quarter is paid in arrears. In return, the Darwin Initiative requires that certain reports are submitted in a timely fashion. Without these reports, your funding can be stopped. The Darwin Initiative works to the UK Government financial calendar, which is April to March. Quarters 1, 2 and 3 are advance claims. That means you can claim your funds up front. The condition of receiving these funds is that you have submitted your annual grant acceptance form, and from year 2 you submit your annual report and your quarter 4 actuals claim for the previous year. Quarter 4 is an actual claim. It is not an advance and is dependent on your actual expenditure for the year, so is paid after the year end. This may have implications on your planned cash flow, so you should ensure you review this sooner rather than later. In your final year of the project, a percentage of the award for the final year is withheld pending a satisfactory final report. This will be paid to you when your final report has been reviewed and deemed complete, and you have submitted your audit certificate. You are expected to have your project audited at the close of the project. An audit certificate is required as evidence of this. Without the certificate, your final retention payment cannot be made. All claims should normally be received in hard copy with a wet signature. That is, not a photocopy or an email version. For award holders based outside the UK, it may be possible to agree a process that deals with delays surrounding hard copies. You should contact us directly. We will check that the claim total is correct and that we've received the necessary reporting to allow your claim to be processed. We will then send these claims in batches to DEFRA for approval. Once approval has been secured, your claim will be sent for payment. You will be informed when to expect pay in your account. The following slide provides a simple overview of the conditions for payment for Darwin projects. For quarter 1, we require the signed award acceptance form. For quarter 2, in year 1, there is no condition. From year 2 onwards, though, we will need to receive your annual report. For quarter 3, in year 1, there is no condition. From year 2 onwards, we will have reviewed your annual report and will make a payment if the report is deemed acceptable by our monitoring and evaluation team. For quarter 4, your claim is based on actual expenditure, and we should have submitted your full claim. In your final year, we require your final report to have been submitted and deemed acceptable by our monitoring and evaluation team. In addition, we require your audit certificate to be submitted before we can pay your final claim. If projects are looking to make significant changes to their project, you should submit a change request. This includes both financial and technical changes to the project originally outlined in your application form. These changes include variance between budget lines of more than 10% of either line, carry forwards, changes to the logical framework, staff changes, specifically senior technical staff named on the application, and timing changes. If you are unsure whether the changes you propose require a formal request, please ring us or email us. It is important to remember this is a request for a change, not a notification of a change. DEFRA retains the right to turn down these requests if they are not in the best interests of the Darwin Initiative. A change request form can be found on the Darwin website. Darwin projects work in developing countries, and we recognise that sometimes things don't always go to plan. If you expect you will not spend your full budget in any year, you can request to carry forward a small amount. The total amounts of funds DEFRA can agree to carry forward is limited and is shared between all Darwin projects in any 1 year. DEFRA retain the right to decline your request for a carry forward if, for example, there are many other projects applying to carry funds forward. Therefore, we highly recommend you monitor your project spend closely to avoid any last-minute requests being declined. You are advised to apply for a carry forward as soon as you know it will be required. In January of each year, we will ask projects to review their finances and give as an indication of whether they expect to need to carry forward any funds that year. This forecasting exercise is useful for DEFRA to understand what funds might be required. You will not be held to this forecast as we expect things may change. However, you would be well advised to submit any carry forward requests soon after this forecasting exercise. This is because there are limited funds available to approve carry forwards. We tend to work on a first come first served basis unless there is reasonable justification. A small percentage of projects will be selected each year for a spot audit. This is a check that the funds you are spending are for the items and activities you say they are for. We will be in contact with you if your project has been selected for a spot audit. To ensure this is a simple administrative process, we recommend you apply good processes to your project financial management. We've come to the end of our presentation on the reporting requirements for Darwin Initiative projects. We hope you have found this a useful video. If you have any further questions, please do contact us. Our contact details are on the screen. We are also on social media, including Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn. So for now, congratulations and good luck from the Darwin Initiative team.